Rockstar gang, what up, what up, what up? Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Welcome to tonight's stream. As always, your host, ClayRopp. Welcome to the Rockstar Report. And man, do I have a good one for you guys tonight. We're just going to talk about the NFL for wide receiver free agent targets for the Carolina Panthers. And what I mean by that is the ones that are the smart bargain ones. We're talking about, we're going to Walmart to find these guys. We're not shopping at Target or some fancy store for these guys. We are shopping at the clearance section at the Gap store. I don't know. Something like that. Nah, not necessarily. It ain't that bad. It ain't that bad. But really, we're going to dive into some of these guys that, from a market value standpoint, but also not only from a market value standpoint, but also can they actually like make an impact? Can they actually like put some production on the field, right? These are the guys that we're going to be targeting because we already know T. Higgins is tagged. So let's just go ahead and get that out the way. Now, here's the thing. I don't know T. Higgins. For some of you guys that don't realize this, I don't think T. Higgins is going to be off the market. I really don't. I don't think he's happy. There's a lot of reports that are coming out right now that he's not happy with the tag, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? So, shout out to everybody in the chat, man. We're gonna dive into a lot of these guys tonight. We're gonna dive into the T. Higgins situation, all that good stuff. We're gonna talk, and then of course we're gonna be talking about some other guys, man. You know what I mean? So we're gonna dive into a bunch of these guys. Tutu Altwell, we're gonna talk about tonight. We're gonna talk about Darius Slayton, Noah Brown. These are the guys that I'm going to be talking about. We're also going to be talking about Devontae Adams. So really, we're going to be talking about free agents. This week is about free agents. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. Y'all guys love the mock drafts. We are going to do a mock draft. But at least the next 2 days or maybe 3 days, honestly, maybe tonight, Wednesday, and Thursday, the rest of this week, we're going to do free agent stuff, and then we'll do mock draft on Fridays. But we gotta prepare ourselves for the mock of free agency. Okay, free agency starts next week. All right, it really starts on Monday. Okay, and so, but it kind of starts now. Like we've got to prepare ourselves for. I mean, we might be one of the hottest teams in the free agent market, ladies and gentlemen. And there's a good possibility that's the case. We're going to be one of the hottest teams in this free agent market. So we're going to dive into a couple guys tonight. We might even talk about Hollywood Brown being a guy. I've heard his name being thrown around in that mix. But I've also heard Hollywood Brown could be targeting going to the Buffalo Bills. So there's a lot of reports out there. There's a lot of guys that we can bring to the table. But before we get to today's topic, make sure you do these 3 favors for me. And then I'm going to get into the comments, and then we'll get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So make sure you do these 3 things for me before we get started. Yes, and also make sure you guys also follow me on social media. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Really trying. Also Facebook. Please go follow me on Facebook. I'm really trying to grow all those platforms. The more we grow there as well, it helps out this channel tremendously. So the thing is I got it. Hold on 1 second. All right, so I'm trying to pull up Spot Track. We're going to use Spot Track here. Hold on 1 second here. Let's pull up Spot Track. Let's get some of these people's comments, and I'm going to give a shout out. By the way, if you become a member of this live stream or you become a member of the Rockstar Report, you will become a moderator. So T Thompson, I saw you were a member. You do not have had the moderator tag on you, the wrench. If you have a wrench on you, that means you're a moderator. So all my members, you will become moderators here. Okay. All right. We also have a live goal tonight. Okay. That live goal tonight is 20 teal super chats. So basically that equals $25 super chats, which equals up to $100. So basically I'll do like a fun challenge, like a Q&A or a game or something wacky, maybe a giveaway. I don't know, to celebrate that milestone. So if we reach that tonight as well, you know, that's a live goal tonight. All right. That's a live goal tonight. Yes, so T. Thompson, you are a moderator just because you became a member, man. So appreciate you doing that. All right. Let's see. Who should we start with? Well, let's start with Devontae Adams. Why not? Let's start with Devontae Adams. So shout out to everybody in chat. Let me give some shout outs real quick. Shout out to Lomax. Shout out to T. Thompson. Shout out to Marcos Cash. As we getting through this. Shout out to Marcos Cash. Shout out to Bino Thor. Shout out to Raw Walk. Tabletop Laboratories was good. Forest City Kitty, appreciate you joining the party. Earl Locklear, appreciate you joining the party. Marcus Alm, appreciate you joining the party, man. Welcome in, Antonio. Appreciate you. Fan Nam, what's good, my guy? Let's see if I'm missing anybody else. I think I got everybody in the chat. I think I gave a shout out to everybody in chat. So shout out to all you guys. All right. And smash that like button. Just like he said, beat that like button. Like I'm gonna say beat that like button like it owes you money instead. All right. All right. Damn, you gotta get a premium version now for this shit. Fuck you, Spot Track. Respectfully, I'd like to welcome Broski Bear to the chat. Welcome, Broski Bear. Panthers Tube, what's good, my guy? You are a member as of right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and make you a moderator as well. All right. Again, guys, if you become a member of the channel, I will give you moderator rights. All right, which means then you end up having a nice blue star. You get a nice wrench by your name, but then if you are a member, you get a nice big green sticker, and your name comes up either blue or green. But if you're a moderator, it comes up as blue. So anyways, all right, let's get into Devontae Adams. I think Devontae Adams is. I do not like Spot Track right now. I was going to go into a nice market value. If I go into here with Spot Track now, because Spot Track's being funky as shit. Can I go in here and do a market value? Oh, okay. I can do a market value. I can. I think I can. I think I can. All right, let's talk about. Sorry, my guys. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Give me a second here. I'm just trying to move some things around. I'm trying to move some things around on my screen so it makes sense to me. So give me 1 second here. My bad, bruh. My bad, bruh. All right. All right, let's talk about the Devontae Adams thing because there has been official reports that he has been released. Hold on. You know what? Let me just go to Twitter because, of course, freaking whatchamacallit. Cal says, sounds like Bryce Young. What are you talking about? I sound like Bryce Young? Someone said I sound like Bryce Young. Interesting. Interesting. Someone said I sounded like Bryce Young. I don't know where that comment came from or what post. Sounds like Bryce Young. Oh, I see what he's talking about. All right, let me pull this up. I got some guys. Well, there's a bunch of guys that I want to talk about. So we're going to use Twitter instead since Spot Track wants to be returning. Or special, I should say. It wants to be special. All right, so Davante Adams, this is, again, they have now officially I've heard DeAndre Hopkins is going to officially retire. I don't know if that's true or not. Apparently, it is true, but I don't know if it's officially true. Okay, but here's the thing about here's the thing. I'll say this: with Davante Adams getting released, it does make Carolina Panthers wide receiver problem just a hell of a lot easier to solve. And for once, I think, and for once in this situation we're in, it didn't require some massive trade negotiation or the mortgage, the future. Like it just took the New York Jets doing what the Jets do best and make terrible decisions, right? Now, from a standpoint, it's a terrible decision to lose a player like this, but from a financial standpoint, it's not, right? Like Carolina has been linked to potential trades, right? There was a rumor out there that we were a potential trade for Davante Adams, but honestly, at the time when I thought about it, it really didn't make sense, right? Like for sure, they desperately need a legit pass catching threat. All right, trading for an aging star and on a team friendly deal definitely seemed like the most efficient short term fix. But thanks to the absolute train wreck that the New York Jets are of handling any so-called win now roster that they so-called had, Adams is officially up for grabs, and there's now no trade required, which means for the Panthers or any other team with half a brain out there can sign one of the most talented receivers of this generation without giving a single draft pickup. Okay? So the Jets, they cut one of the best wide receivers in the last decade. Maybe they're trying to wipe away every remnant of that disastrous flop that they had with Aaron Rodgers' experiment. Because that Aaron Rodgers' experiment, let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, it was an absolute fucking shit show. That's what it was. And they looked absolutely clueless at the end of the day. And either way, their loss could be our game. And honestly, it's kind of this kind of move doesn't come around often. This is an open invitation to add a legitimate weapon. If the I would be open to ears on this to get a guy like Davante Adams. Now, instead of surrendering valuable assets, because then now you don't have to surrender any valuable assets in a trade. They can simply sign this guy outright. Now, guess what? There is always a catch. He's not going to demand anywhere near the contract he would have in his prime. He is 31 years old. I still think he's got plenty left in the tank. I think he's also in part of his career where teams aren't throwing obscene amounts of money at him. That's exactly the type of an opportunity of a cash strap, because right now we're a cash strap team a little bit that we could make a move on this. But this is exactly the opportunity that we've been looking for, right? I think it's a good move, in my opinion. Let's see here. Let's get to some comments real quick before I continue my rant. Kenyon Allen is going to be a steal for somebody for a season or two. It just depends. I think Allen may end up going back to I think Allen may end up going back to the Chargers. I could see that happening tabletop, honestly. I'll take Chris Godwin. Wouldn't be mad about it. I was on a radio that you heard it. Interesting. Is Devontae under contract? No, he got released today, Vino Thor, which means he's not under contract. We don't have to pay him. We don't have to pay part of the Jets contract. We don't have to pay part of any contract. So he's under no contract, which means we could sign him outright. Okay. Clay, would you be upset if the Panthers drafted Tyler Warren at 8? Broski Bear, part of me is just like, yeah, I would. I actually think I might lose my shit if Carolina drafts Tyler Warren at 8. The only way I'm okay if they draft Tyler Warren at 8 is unless they significantly make some major moves in free agency. And I meant when I say that from a defensive standpoint. Like there's only one way I'm okay with the Carolina Panthers taking Tyler Warren at 8, and they fill almost every single gap on the defensive side of the ball. At least 50%. What do I think about Romeo Doubs? Is he available? That's the question. Is he available? Because I don't know if Romeo Doubs is a free agent. Let me look. Let's see if Romeo Doubs is a free agent. I'm going to use my phone. If he's a free agent, he's a guy I would definitely look into. But I don't think he's a free agent. No, he's not a free agent. So you would have to trade for him. And I'm not making any trades. I'm not bringing any of this draft capital into any player. I don't care who it is. I know a lot of people want him, Broski Bear. Back to your question, though. I know a lot of people want Tyler Warren, but I just don't get it. They probably do, Vino Thor. Honestly, they probably do. I don't know how that's going to work for them necessarily. I mean, you look at that number, $32.8 million cap hit. I mean, again, I don't know. I don't know who exactly how much they got to pay, but with the way they released him, they'll probably have to pay out, maybe the last 2 years of his contract, but I don't know how much. I don't think it's the $38.2 million cap hit. Now, 33 people watching, on 23 likes. Like, y'all know what to do. Marcos Cash, I appreciate you, man. Keep them on their toes, bruh. Keep them on their toes. Let them know. Adams got what to go back out west, I heard. I mean, he probably does. I mean, I'm sure Devontae Adams. I've also heard that he wants to go wherever Aaron Rodgers goes once again, which it sounds like Aaron Rodgers might end up being the top candidate for the New York Giants. So which I made a short about that today. Smash that like. Appreciate that, Broski Bear. Adams wants to go back out west. That's what I heard that too. Stephon Diggs, again, that would be just basically, you might as well go ahead and re-sign Deontay Johnson. Now, I'm not saying that from a talent standpoint. Stephon Diggs is a way better wide receiver than Deontay Johnson. Stephon Diggs is a way better wide receiver than Deontay Johnson. But you're bringing in the same fucking locker room killer. The same drama queen. That's what you're bringing in with Stephon Diggs. So I'm not a fan. Adams might go to Washington. Could you imagine Devontae Adams, Terry McLaurin, and Deebo Samuel in Washington with what they've got going on with Jaden Daniels? That would be absolutely filthy. I don't like the free agent wide receiver route. We need to draft our own superstars. We need young speed demons. I mean, we've got to get some. We've got to get some wide receivers help in here. Listen. I think that they're going to go and get somebody in free. Just because they go and get somebody in free agency does not mean that I don't think that they'll go get someone in the draft. After what we saw in that NFL Combine, if they took either one of those boys out of Iowa State, I would be completely happy. If they went out, if Carolina goes out, let's say and we'll go over some of these guys, but let's just use this for example, ladies and gentlemen. Let's say Carolina goes out, right? And they go sign Darius Slayton, okay, who can play the slot. Okay, could be that guy to give you a good solid. I think he's 29 years old, so he could probably give you at least a solid 3 years, maybe even 4. Okay, he's a guy that got 700 yards. In my opinion, if you're getting 700 yards with Daniel Jones, you're basically a 1,000-yard receiver. If you can get 700 yards with Daniel Jones throwing you the ball, you're a 1,000-yard wide receiver with a competent quarterback. So let's say they go out and they sign Darius Slayton, okay, but then they go and get like the Jaden Higgins kid out of Iowa State, and then you've got Adam Thielen, Jaden Higgins, who's a 6'4" wide receiver, runs a 4.47, and then you still got Leggett and Coker. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at that. Or you go out, you get a Chris Godwin, and then you go get a Jalen Noel, for example. You know, I mean, there's multiple routes that you can go that I would not be mad at. Devontae Adams, and then you go and get, I'm just trying to think, somebody. Jalen, or you go get Jalen Noel. Like I would be happy with any of the Iowa State boys. I really like both the Iowa State boys. I thought their draft stock went through is going through the roof right now due to what happened to them at the combine, but that's just me. That's a lot of free agents. Tutu Altwell, you could add to that as well. Brandon Cooks, you got him on there. Another one is Darius Slayton, like we just mentioned. Noah Brown, Elijah Moore is another one. Who do you want the Panthers to draft at 8? Mason Graham. Honestly, if Mason Graham or Abdul Carter somehow are both at 8, I'm taking, and that's like my 1A, 1B. My 1A is Abdul Carter. My 1B is Mason Graham. But I don't think there's a world where either one of them fall out of the top 10. I don't even think they fall out of top 5, Mason Graham and Abdul Carter. I think they're easily a top 5, top 6, or even 7. I just don't see any way that either one of those two fall, broski. But for me, if neither one of them are there, I've always said I'd rather trade back. Everybody's on this James Pierce Jr. train. I'm not seeing it. I think he's got elite skills. from a numbers chart, like when we go look at his numbers, I think James Pierce Jr. has the elite from a metrics and numbers standpoint. But the problem is his arms are very short for his position, and that is a huge issue when it comes to pass rush. I just think we'd be getting I think we would just be getting another Brian Burns all over again. That's just me. What's good, Anthony? Drafting Warren would be silly as hell, right, B. Amos? Means Devontae could go somewhere for a vet minimum and still paid for the season. Basically, Vino Thor, the way you look at it. Josh, what's good, man? Josh, you are a member. Let me make you member. I see that you're a member, Josh, so I'm going to make you a moderator. Again, anybody that becomes a member of my channel will become a moderator. All right. I think De'Ami Brown might be the best sleeper wide receiver. He was one of the best postseason wide receivers, and he could probably add for like 5 to 10 mil. He's a former Tar Heel. I wouldn't be mad at De'Ami Brown either. Again, I wouldn't. Darius Slayton being linked to the Panthers. Yeah, his name has been thrown around. We'll talk more about him here shortly. Rodgers to the Giants. That would be a shit show. Yeah, basically all over again. Y'all signing Brandon Cooks. I mean, again, I think that would be, again, I've seen a lot of rumors about that too. Between him and Darius Slayton, it's about even. I could see Adams in a 49er jersey. I could too, Matthew. Diggs, it wasn't a diva for us Texans. That's good. I don't think he played long enough to give you that chance. Next Wednesday, we will see. Yes, we will. Tutu Altwell. I like him too, Josh. We're going to go through some of these guys. I'm just getting through some of your comments. Who's your realistic free agent wideout you think we are getting? Well, there's 5 guys I think realistically Carolina can go after. Okay. And we're going to go through them. All right. I'm all for offensive weapons, but I really want to see us hit in defense by signing in a free agency, draft some key guys for us. Matthew Machado, I think they will. I think that they're still going to sign some defensive guys. Just because they sign a wide receiver doesn't mean they're not going to be able to still sign some key defensive players. Don't do it. I work second shift, but thanks. Interesting. All right. Stories are coming out that James Pierce being a jackass. Yeah, there's a lot about him being a jackass. There's also a lot about Mike Green that came out with apparently he had sexual assault charges when he was at the University of Virginia. That's why he transferred to Marshall, because they let him go. So Gary Gady says, going to try to get a quick mock draft in, brother. Go for it, buddy. Go big or go home, Gary. Noah Brown isn't going to leave DC unless someone pays a bag. I don't think Noah Brown thinks if Noah Brown thinks he deserves a bag, I don't know what he's smoking, but I want what he's got. Because Noah Brown, when's the last time Noah Brown had a 1,000-yard season? If he wants a bag, what kind of bag is he looking for? A nickel bag? I mean, Noah Brown ain't gonna get paid anymore. He ain't gonna get paid. I mean, what has he done? Has he reached 1,000 yards in how many years has it been since Noah Brown reached 1,000 yards? Get out of your mind. Yeah, well, Vina Thor, I mean, he had a sexual assault charge. He had a sexual assault charge from University of Virginia. That's why University of Virginia let him go. There's a video that just popped up on your screen, Lomax. Says it's a video that popped up. Might go to Baltimore Ravens. That's an interesting choice. Justin Reed is a safety to keep an eye out. Potential signing for us due to Chiefs may not re-sign him this year. Yeah, I saw that too. I saw that too. Got to sign JC. Yeah, we're going to talk about the JC Horn signing this week. Once we talk about my defensive free agents, because we're going to do a defensive free agent. Yeah, we got to get that. We got to get that settled. We got to get that settled for sure. Definitely got to get that settled. So I'm all for it. I am all for it. Hold on 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, for the Davante Adams standpoint, though, man, like, this is the exact type of moves that you want to make. When you see guys, like I said, with the back to the Davante Adams thing real quick, these are the type of moves that you want to see, though. These are the type of opportunities. I mean, I believe teams have put those hit pieces to get Green. Actually, John, no, the sexual assault charge is actually legit. I thought the same thing, what you're saying there about the Mike Green, but it's a legit thing. That's the reason why he got kicked out of University of Virginia, because it was legit. Whether he plead guilty or not, it was a legit trial. So, it's a legit trial. That's the reason why I got kicked out. Now, I don't know if there was another one, but I know there was just one. Noah Brown's injury prone, hit 1K. DC's gonna work to keep him. He was JD's favorite target until he got hurt. He can be bad if someone overpays a bit, but it is worth it. I don't know. Is it worth it? I don't know. I want one of the three Eagle free agents: Bond, Sweat, or Williams. Give me Milton Williams and Derek Brown. Well, Josh, this came out right before when I saw the allegations. It came out right before the Senior Bowl, so not before the draft. No, it wasn't fake. It's legit. It came out like a week before the Senior Bowl started. So, I mean, again, everybody has a past, man. You know, at some point, you know, everybody makes mistakes. It's just how you react to your mistakes. That's what I'm a big believer in. It's how you react to your mistakes, and you know, and how you hold yourself. So, you know, it is what it is. All right, let's get back to the topic at hand, though. I'll say this. With the Davante Adams thing, though, this is an opportunity that can fall in your lap from a Carolina Panther standpoint. Like, this is something you need to jump on. Like, we're not broke, but we're not exactly swimming in cap space like we talked about last night. And that's something that if you guys didn't tune into last night's live stream, you need to go tune in. I broke down a lot about the cap space, and the rollover, how that all works, how it can affect us in free agency. So if you didn't tune in last night, make sure you go check out last night's live stream and make sure you go drop a like over there as well. But it's a full breakdown of the cap space, but it also talks about how crucial this offseason is for the Carolina Panthers from a free agent standpoint, from the draft standpoint, all that good stuff. We talked about that last night, so make sure y'all go back and watch that. All right. But let's be honest. When we talk about a guy like Davante Adams, there's no wide receiver available in free agency or the draft that I think is going to bring a Adams level of experience and that immediate impact. Now, could you imagine Adams lining up alongside Adam Thielen for a year or two? For a year or two? Could you not? Could you imagine Davante Adams lining up with Adam Thielen for a year or two, giving Bryce Young both of those guys some weapons? That's a developing supporting cast alongside Jalen Coker and Xavier Legette, and then maybe whoever they draft. Maybe they draft somebody. Who knows? Not only would that provide a dynamic duo and with immediate help, but that would also give Davante Adams to serve as a mentor. Think about it this way. Davante Adams could be a guy that could serve as a mentor to Jalen Coker and Xavier Legette. Let's be real. Aren't exactly guaranteed to, neither one of those guys, Jalen Coker and Xavier Legette, are guaranteed to be superstars out the gate. But having a 2-season veterans in that locker room, I mean, that could mean the difference not only for Bryce Young's development as a quarterback, but also for those wide receivers. Now, I know that sounds like a fairy tale, but the long-term benefits here for that's the thing you got to think about from this standpoint. This type of move buys Carolina time. Instead of scrambling for a wide receiver one, they don't have the draft capital or financial flexibility to make a major move. They could roll with Adams and Thielen and Legette and Coker. And then and then you have all that together. You have a competent wide receiver core than what you had last season. That would free them up not only to focus entirely on fixing the whole damn defense, and then let's be real, who also needs some serious attention. We know that. And with the NFC South, ladies and gentlemen, we know that this NFC South is a wide open division. I think it's anyone's division every single year, as it is. Even a marginal improvements on offense and defense automatically puts Carolina in that mix. There's also the culture factor considering. Adams isn't just a talented receiver. He's a respected veteran. That's the kind of guy who knows how to work, knows how to win, knows what it takes to be great. Having that kind of presence in the locker room can do wonders for a rebuilding team, especially one with who still needs, find his footing in the NFL. So if Young is going to succeed, we know he needs real weapons for sure. Real mentors, real support, right? Adams checked every one of those boxes. Like, I think this is a move that you can make that I'm not necessarily saying that they need that to happen. Like, I don't know if this really needs to happen. Part of me says it does, just from what I just mentioned. But part of me is saying that, you got to look at it from not only a short-term standpoint, but a long-term standpoint. Because this is a short-term, probably with him being at 31, You probably sign him for what, a 2-year, 3-year deal, maybe at most, Devontae Adams. But then you think about the mentorship that he brings to the table for those younger guys like Jalen Coker and Xavier Legette. What do you think of BJ Hill? Could double him with Williams' extra depth. Wouldn't be mad about it, but the price has to be right, Raw Walk. Price has to be right. Right. I don't know how much BJ Hill's market value is. The price has to be right because Milton Williams' market value just went up. Like majorly. Yeah, Milton Williams as of right now, ladies and gentlemen, is his market value as of right now is 85 million over the next 4 years. But then you also got to go, if you're talking about BJ Hill, because again, Rawalk, I'm not opposed to having neither one of those guys or both if we could. But you're looking at BJ Hill. I mean, his market value as well. And I'm looking at it. Yeah, 2-year, 18 million. So that's not too bad. That's not too bad. So, yeah, I mean, 2-year, 18, average 10 million. So that's not too bad. Again, that's kind of like, I guess you would say, Raw Walk. That would be like signing. That would be like what we did last year from an offensive standpoint. We went out and signed, Robert Hunt. That's your Milton Williams. You go out and sign BJ Hill. That's your Dion Lewis type of signing. That makes sense. So, I mean, wouldn't be opposed to it. Wouldn't be opposed to it because then that solidifies your defensive line. Because then with Williams and BJ Hill, then you have Derek Brown as well. You got A'Shawn Robinson still. Not a bad move, but then you could just focus in the draft, maybe get yourself a wide receiver and a tight end in the draft now, and a running back, and then you also can just focus on the other defense. So yeah, that's not a bad move. I like where your head's at there, Raw Walk. If we can work 2 older guys and 2 young guys, that a good wide receiver room, the other team defense. That's a good point, Earl. Again, Adam Thielen, Adams, Jalen Coker, and Xavier Legette. I don't think anybody says no to that. That's just me. I just think KJ Osborne might just need to stick with, I think he plays cornhole. Or is that Alexander Madison? I can't remember. But I'll say this. I'm not a fan of KJ Osborne. He just doesn't move the needle for me enough. I need a guy that's going to make at least an impact. Some way, shape, or form, and I just don't feel like he can. Definitely waiting to see what happens for sure, Josh. We'll see what happens for sure in, of course, free agency. All right, let's get it. All right, so I'm going to give you guys now my realistic version of who I think we can sign. And I'm talking about from a realistic standpoint, from a financial standpoint as well. KJ Osborne, you could go look him up. Nervous. He's not. He's okay. He's nothing to brag about. I'll tell you that. Let's look at now Tutu Altwell. I'll share my screen. Past performances. Let's look at grades. So again, good receiving grade. This is the best receiving grade. It's pretty good. Here's the thing. Wait, Tutu Altwell. We're talking about a guy that we're talking about guys that are realistic. We're talking about smart bargain picks. All right. What's good, Panthers boy? Appreciate you joining, man. We're talking about smart bargain picks here. Tutu Altwell is a smart bargain pick. Okay. All right. They need a smart bargain pick, and that's Tutu. I think the speed, that's what draws me in with Tutu is his speed. Because I feel like our offense definitely needs some of that speed that he brings, right? Tutu got burned on this Rams depth chart, in my opinion, because of Puka. You got Puka Nacua, you got Cooper Kupp. But when he actually got opportunities, he showed flashes of being a legitimate playmaker. Again, I don't think we necessarily – I'm not saying that we don't need a wide receiver one, but I'm saying that we don't need Tutu Altwell to be a wide receiver. I think what we need for if we went and got Tutu Altwell, all I need to see is someone who can stretch the field and force defenses to respect that deep ball. Right? Because right now, I feel like Xavier Legette was supposed to be that guy. Now, I know it's his first year, rookie, all kinds of good stuff, all that good stuff, right? We don't have a single guy who does that consistently, right? I think a guy like Tutu could end up being a guy like that. And I'm not saying Legette down the road can't do that either. But I'm just saying I know that I could trust Tutu Altwell to do that and stretch the defense more than I can say Xavier Legette right now. Again, the best part about Tutu Altwell, he's not going to cost that much, right? Again, we're going at this from a market value. Tutu Altwell's market value, when we look at it here, Tutu Altwell's market value right now is around Tutu Altwell's market value right now is around, let's see here. Wow. His market value is around $4 million. Basically, we could sign him for a 1.1 year, $4 million deal right now. Right now. I'm not a big Alan Lazard fan, man. I think here's the thing, Josh. I think Rodgers just made Alan Lazard look good. He made Alan Lazard look good. I'm just not a big Alan Lazard fan. Again. Right. Lomax with that $2 donation. Appreciate you, my guy. Thank you for that $2 dono. As always, I appreciate you with that $2 donation. Appreciate that. There you go. There you go. All right. Tutu. So that's my take on Tutu. I hear you, Eric. We don't want any experiment guys. Again, I don't think Tutu Altwell is an experiment guy. I think he's more of a guy that can help and stretch the defense and can help this offense to stretch the defense. And then, listen, beggars can't be choosers, ladies and gentlemen. You might not be able to get your wide receiver one immediately this year. You just need to add depth or rotation pieces at this point if you can't. Not necessarily saying that no one will step up to end up being that wide receiver one, which Adam Thielen has consistently done over the past 2 seasons. But not saying that Legette or Jalen Coker can't come out this year and do that either. And maybe that's what they believe in. All right, another one. For me, if we're talking about a realistic, I know that we were talking to Tabletop about it, but I'm not necessarily saying these. Again, the title of this live stream, ladies and gentlemen, does say smart bargain picks. This does not say wide receiver 1 picks. All right. So I'm not expecting any of these guys to be wide receiver 1s. All right. Noah Brown. I know we were just talking about that tabletop, but Noah Brown, again, I know he's not the flashiest name in the world, but he makes plays, just like you said. Something this offense desperately lacks. Like, again, I think Noah Brown, when you go watch his tape, he proved last season that he can step up in big moments. Like that insane Hail Mary grab helped put Washington into the, obviously helped them get into the playoffs. He consistently showed he could win contested catches. He's got reliable hands, in my opinion, good route running skills, the toughness you want a receiver. Again, just like Tabletop Laboratories was saying in here, is that there's one concern, and that's his injury history. He suffered a brutal internal injury last season, but the medicals check out. He'd be an ideal fit. I think he's underrated. I think he's tough. He has a knack of making big plays. Again, if Washington lets him walk, again, this could be one that we this is one we could target. Let's continue. Elijah Moore. I think it's another guy. The reason why I'm talking about Elijah Moore is because the reason why I'm looking at him is because his career has been a bit of a roller coaster. But to me, that's not him. Like, the Jets wasted his talent, in my opinion. I think the Browns misused him, in my opinion. Through it all, he still shows flashes of being a upside playmaker, right? He's young. He's a versatile playmaker. I think he's got untapped potential. That's just being waiting to be unlocked. I mean, what he needs is a stable environment. Neither place that he's been to has been stable. I would say Carolina is more stable right now than the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets. And Bryce Young isn't dealing with constant coaching changes now. Finally, this offense was a clear direction. That's what it is. It has a clear direction. I think Moore could be a perfect slot weapon, right? While also providing the occasional deep threat. The best part is, again, he's not going to cost a fortune either. So if we go look up Elijah Moore, let me go look up Elijah Moore. Let's see. You're fine, Scooby. Again, another guy, $4.5 million. Market value, $4.5 million for 1 year. Yes, sir. Being a Thor coming. Lomax says you're beating around the bush, Clay. Who do you think we get realistically out of free agency? You never answer the question. I'm listening. Shout out to you for a $5 donation, man. Who do because I can't tell you realistically because I don't know. I'm giving you realistic options here from a wide receiver standpoint. But I can't tell you every player that they are going to go get. Now, I am going to talk about the defense, right? The only free agents on the offensive side that I think that Carolina is going to be targeting is the wide receiver group and the defensive line and the linebackers, right? and edge rushers. But other than that, that's all they're going to be targeting. Now, realistic options. Again, I'm giving you my offensive realistic options, and we're starting with the wide receiver group. Because I don't think that they're going to target running backs. They're not going to target offensive line. They may try to re-sign some of the guys that we already have had here, like Brady Christensen, Cade Mays, Austin Corbett, and then defensively, probably Mike Jackson. I think is a guy that's a realistic option. I think also J.C. Horn, again, that's a contract. So who are we going to sign realistically? That is a tough call for me to. I can't predict the future, Lomax. If I could, not only would I not be here, but I'd be living on the island. So what do I think is real? Okay, so wait. But what do you think is what I'm asking? Oh, I mean, realistically, I could see a world where we sign a guy like, I think Darius Slayton, the one that has been the most leaked, is a realistic option. Is the most realistic option from a wide receiver standpoint. I really do. I really do. I think Darius Slayton makes the most sense. I really do. I think Darius Slayton makes the most sense, at least from a wide receiver standpoint. This is the most realistic option for Carolina. Maybe Brandon Cooks. I would probably say Brandon Cooks is my second one as a realistic option. But I think that this guy I think Darius Slayton is probably the most realistic option. Again, if you're having 700-yard seasons and your quarterback is Daniel Jones, again, you're a 1,000-yard receiver with a competent quarterback. But again, a lot of people want these. See, the problem is a lot of Carolina Panthers fans want these guys. Okay. They want these guys that's a superstar signing. And again, y'all guys need to wake the hell up. It's not happening. Again, these options that I'm giving you now is what is possible. Darius Slayton is a smart, value-driven pick. This is a move. This is a more likely signing move. Again, Slayton is a guy who was in New York dealing with quarterback chaos, and he still managed to be productive. His numbers won't blow anyone away, but he's got legitimate speed and can create separations. Two things that this wide receiver room definitely needs: speed and separation. Downside of Slayton, he's going to be more expensive than anybody else I've mentioned. Okay? He's probably going to be around a $15 million per year contract. Because again, this guy literally is a 1,000-yard receiver with a competent quarterback. But if you could structure the right deal, he's worth it. He's not a wide receiver one, but he's a damn side better than what we've got right now. And I think him coming in with Adams could open up the middle of the field because both of them can play inside while you have Coker and Leggett on the outside. That'd be pretty filthy. I'm just saying. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but Eric, the only reason why Deontay Johnson is where he is he's a fucking crybaby. He's a drama queen. He's a locker room killer. That's what we thought that we were getting something, but again, this guy was, again, where's Deontay Johnson now? Hey, look, guys, I got Clay's money. Hey, I mean, it's a legit question. You asked. I'm trying to give you the best options, based off of what I'm seeing. But again, I can't predict who we're gonna get. Again, if I could, like I said, if I could predict the future, again, I wouldn't be here. I'd be predicting on every sports game and making a lot of money. Okay. My allergies are killing me. I don't know about y'all lately, but this allergies are killing me. But again, shout out to you for that $5 donation and that $2 donation from Lomax. I appreciate both of those, my guy. I really do. You coming in hot with some of those questions. I appreciate that. So,
bing bong, bing bong.
Bruh.
Appreciate you, man. But yeah, you definitely had me sweating on those last two questions because I'm like, the only again, I give you guys the best options, the most realistic options when I was doing this. But that's the most realistic. Again, I've also don't think, again, like I was telling you guys earlier, I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but even though that the Bengals tagged him and they're trying to work out this long-term deal, I just don't see it happening there in Cincinnati for T. Higgins. I think they end up pulling a tag and trade with him, which may be what they do. I don't know. I wish I didn't know. But I think this is a guy that I think the most realistic from a wide receiver standpoint, yeah, is Darius Slayton for Carolina. I will say probably my second most realistic for Carolina, even though a lot of people don't think he moves the needle for them. And I'm not necessarily saying that Brandon Cooks has to be a wide receiver one. But again, Brandon Cooks, again, I know isn't some game breaker that he used to be. I get that. But I don't think let's not pretend this guy is washed, man. Like, the guy had 6,000-yard seasons on his resume, more than any receiver on our current roster. I'm pretty sure he has more 1,000-yard seasons than Adam Thielen does. Even in a down year with Dallas, he showed he can still get it done and make plays. Like, I know this is another 31-year-old guy. Injuries have taken his toll. His speed isn't what it once was. But if they want a reliable veteran presence who can still contribute while helping the younger receivers like Coker, Leggett develop, again, this is a solid option. And he won't cost that much, especially at the stage that he is in his career. So he's likely more interested in a good fit than a big payday. That's the reason why I would only mention Brandon Cooks. But those are my most realistic ones. Now, again, if there was any world that we got Devontae Adams in, sure. Count me in. Now, Eric, we do not need to spend getting a tight end or wide receiver at 8. We need to be spending it on the defense. But again, it all depends on I think it will all depend on how free agency works out. But we have Vina Thor is correct. We have way larger concerns at wide receiver than wide receiver through the draft. I'm just saying. I mean, you're still going to have to add to the wide receiver depth chart. You got to add. These are depth pieces at this point, though, Eric. You're not. They're not going to. Here's the thing: you cannot do what Dan Morgan did last year. Here is the thing that you guys got to understand why I'm saying that we should be targeting some wide receivers. The reason why the defense was so bad last year was because we ignored the defense. Think about it. We ignored the defense. We got rotational players starting, practice squad players starting. Yeah, due to some injuries, sure. Some. But you cannot just go completely all in on the defense and not bring in some offensive pieces. And Dan Morgan learned his lesson last year from that. That's what I'm getting at from this standpoint. That's why I'm saying we should target these free agent wide receivers. Again, smart bargain picks, guys that will still make an impact on the field. Whether you want to call them depth pieces or not, they'll still make an impact on the field. That's the difference I'm getting at here. Not saying you still can't. That doesn't mean you can't go out and sign a Milton Williams and a BJ Hill if you wanted to. But you can't have your cake and eat it too and have a wide receiver one and rebuild your full defense. We don't have the luxury of that because of the cap space. That's why I was talking about it last night. See, the problem is you guys want your cake and eat it too, and you can't have it. That's not how it works. That's a good point, Lomax. That's a good point. Damn, allergies, man. I mean, it's a good point. I could see that happening. I really do. I think that's the reason why I think Darius Slayton, it makes a lot of sense, too. Again, you got to think about it this way. Darius Slayton, again, is not one of those guys that is just a game-changing superstar. But again, no one is going to confuse him with, no one's going to confuse him with the top-tier wide receiver ones in the league. But he's a solid possession receiving, yards after the catch type of wide receiver. I mean, he gets 4.2 yards after the catch. He's been doing that throughout his career. So if the Panthers sign him, he immediately raises the floor of the wide receiver room with Adam Thielen, with Jalen Coker, with Xavier Legette. It gives Young another legitimate downfield target, allows him us to approach the draft without feeling like they have to desperately reach for some wide receiver early. That's another reason why I don't want us to go into free agency and get a receiver, because I don't want Dan Morgan to desperately reach for a Tyler Warren or a Luther Burden. I don't want them to try to go after a wide receiver in the draft. If they wanted to get a wide receiver in the draft and they get it in the third round, something like that, I'm cool with it. Oh, absolutely, Don 34. I totally agree. So that's why I'm saying, instead of banking on a fragile wide receiver or rolling the dice on an unproven rookie, you go ahead, you add a known commodity in Slayton. He's fast, he's reliable, won't beat up cap space like a premier free agent. For a team still figuring out its offensive identity, with a developing quarterback. That's exactly the type of player you need. Someone who keeps tossing around big, but everybody else wants to keep tossing around these big names like Higgins and Godwin. Maybe, how about this one? Maybe it's time for the Carolina Panthers. Maybe you should think about it this way. Maybe it's time for us to actually make a smart move as an organization instead of some flashy one. Because, again, Slayton won't sell jerseys, but he sure as hell could fix this offense and still help Bryce Young develop. Let's be honest, fixing the offense is a hell of a lot more important than winning some hype war, some offseason hype war. Yeah, the defense is priority number one. But again, you don't want to neglect the offense. And again, that's what happened last year. We neglected the defense when we went all offense last year. That's what Dan Morgan did wrong. But if you want to be stuck with Xavier Legette, Jalen Coker, Adam Thielen, Devin Tompkins, and David Moore, once again, you be my guest. You be my guest. And then they'll just go all defense. If you're comfortable with that, fine. I think if you get Slayton, you get this offense continue to moving forward the way it needs to be. Let's just start. I'm just trying to start. I think you got to start building something real in Carolina. And I'm not necessarily saying that Slayton is a true number one wide receiver. But again, all I'm saying is the reason why I brought up the free agents tonight for wide receivers is because you still can't neglect the offense like you did last year when you neglected the defense. And we saw how that worked out. But trust me, we know priority number one is all defense. We all understand that. I heard what he said, Joshua. I'm just giving you my thoughts. I'm not going to listen to Dan Morgan. If I don't agree with it, I'm not going to listen to it. I have my thoughts. I've been doing this long enough. It's just like, and Dan Morgan did say he's not going to neglect the offense. He did say that he's going to still focus on some offensive pieces, but he's not going to neglect the offense like he did last year. Again, he learned his lesson from last year when he neglected the defense. That is my point. When he neglected the defense, he saw what happened this season. There's a reason why we were giving up an average of 31 yards and an average of 179 yards per game last year. But see, again, the problem is with this fan base and Carolina Panthers fan base that I've realized is they're not realistic with themselves and they're not realistic of reality. And they want their cake and eat it too because they want a true number one wide receiver one. They want a true number one wide receiver they want a true tight end one and then a full-blown rebuild defense all in one offseason. It's not how it works. Again, if we would have, and that's the reason why I talked about it last night, if we were smarter with our money and not signing mediocre players who make mediocre impact, like we've done in years past, thanks to Scott Fitterer, then we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in now. So we still, in my opinion, I still think you should target a free agent wide receiver. I'm not necessarily saying you got to get every one of the guys that I mentioned, but if you at least get one of them, it does help. Because all these guys that I've mentioned are smart bargain wide receivers that I still think can make an impact on the field. And they have proven that they can. But again, the price has to be right. So, in the end, it is what it is. Priority number one is defense, but just don't neglect the offense. That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. Well, Eric Ridge, I guess Jordan Fuller, Ashawn Robinson, DJ Wanham, Jadeveon Clowney, Josie Jewell, Mike Jackson, Dane Jackson. Who else? I guess all these guys are experimental players. Like guys that have been in the league for 10 years. They're experimental players. Again, doesn't make sense, but you can't argue. I'm not going to argue with people. So, yeah, and again, you had the problem is they didn't sign experimental players, dude. They had to bring in practice squad players because of the injuries. They didn't sign experimental players. Jordan Fuller is not an experimental player. Josie Jewell is not an experimental player. Jadeveon Clowney is not an experimental player. DJ Wanham is not an experimental player. And it's called math ain't mathing, not math ain't matching, brother. So get it right if you're going to say it. So those guys aren't experimental players. They've played in the league. Those guys aren't experimental players. They've played in the league for a very, very long time. Or at least more than 3 to 4 years. They're done being experimental players after that 3 to 4, 5 year mark. And Lomax, yeah, we should. I think even if we signed any of these guys that I mentioned tonight, I'm a true believer that we still should definitely draft a wide receiver at 4th or 5th round. I still think you'll be able to find some guys there. It's going to be interesting now when we do our mock draft now that the combine's over with, because all the rankings now have changed. That's what we've done for years. We've signed mediocre players. We have signed mediocre players. But the thing is Eric, the reason why I say they're not experimental players is because Jordan Fuller, Ashawn Robinson, Josie Jewell, all these guys that we brought in are experienced. Most of them, I would say a solid most of them, are experienced with Evero's scheme. So, I'm just saying, it's not experimental if they've played in the scheme before. They sign guys who fit the scheme. Some of the guys, yes. I will say we're experimental players, for sure. Some of them. But I'm going to say that most of those guys have played in that scheme before. They didn't sign Josie Jewell, Jordan Poole, and A'Shawn Robinson to see if they were a scheme fit. They already knew they were a scheme fit. Because they played for the man before. That's why I say they're not experimental players. Jadeveon Clowney has played in the same complex 3-4 scheme. So, when you go look at the teams he's been on, just saying. Why wasn't Shy Total a scheme fit? No, Shy Total was just Scott Fitter didn't know what the hell he was doing. Honestly, the Shy Total scheme fit or that question you just asked me, Vina Floor, I can't even answer that question because Shy Total has been so bad. It's not even funny. I've never seen a guy who is supposed to be he was supposed to be just this he was supposed to be better than what we thought he was supposed to be. Ended up just being an absolute train wreck and get ran over every single game. I don't know how much worse it gets than that. Shy Total ended up being almost like an Ian Thomas from a defensive standpoint. That's who, I mean, it's almost like that. Like you thought Ian Thomas was supposed to be this predecessor for Greg Olsen. Look how that worked out. They've kept him around just hoping and praying that he would end up being like Greg Olsen somehow. I don't know. It's just a terrible move, man. Just a terrible move. And it will be one of the ones that will never make sense to me to this day. Again, a lot of this, the reason, again, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and just say, Scott Fitter, when you wonder why guys were still on this team, you wonder why we were in such dead cap purgatory last year, you wonder why we don't have any rollover money this year, right? From a cap situation. You wonder why we see all these guys in bad contracts. There's only one guy to remember for that, and that is Scott Fitter. So just remember that. Just remember that. Oh, yeah, Panther Boy, for sure. I mean, Lomax, I think we'll make some cuts. I don't know if they'll make any more cuts, honestly, because I don't know if they can. You got to think about it this way: we've got 21 guys coming off this team heading into free agency. So I don't know how much more cuts they'll make. I don't know. We probably won't see anything. We'll see what they do in free agency and then after the draft. But then that's when we'll talk about maybe restructuring Taylor Moton, or trading away or releasing Miles Sanders post June 1st cut. I'm hoping that's what they do. If they do cut him, they need to do it post June because you save more money, less dead cap hit. So I don't know. We'll see. Guys, you've been a hell of a crowd tonight, by the way. I just want to give a huge shout out to you guys tonight. Y'all have been great in the chat, keeping the conversation going. Whether I disagree with you, whether I agree with you, guess what? At the end of the day, it's no hard feelings. All right. It's just football talk. We all have a right to our opinion. But at the end of the day, I'm going to give you my 100% thoughts. And I'm going to be straight up honest with you. So, all right. So, if you don't like that, get out! Get out! Or maybe you just need.
He needs some milk.
Maybe you need some of that too. So. But other than that, man, shout out to you guys in the chat. I really do appreciate every single one of y'all being in here and blessing me with your presence and just talking ball. Love doing that with you guys, man. Gonna be talking about some more stuff here. Definitely gonna do some more free agents talk. We'll probably tomorrow we might break down a bunch of defensive players, right? We'll probably talk. I think tomorrow night we'll talk more about some defensive players for the Panthers. All right, that we could target. Some realistic targets. And then other than that, man, again, shout out to you guys. Appreciate you guys. But yeah, we'll dive into some more stuff. We'll definitely dive into some more stuff this week. But yeah, I think tomorrow night we'll probably talk more about maybe I'll put a poll up tomorrow and see what you guys want to talk about. But I know tomorrow we're going to talk more about some free agents. We need to get through the free agents, especially from the defensive side of the ball, that we need to talk about. I mean, there's so many guys from a defensive standpoint. Mike Milton, Zach Bond, Dre Greenlaw. Well, actually, Dre Greenlaw. Javon Holland. You know what I mean? Cameron Bynum. So there's a lot of guys that we could talk about tomorrow night. So, which we've talked about them before, but I want to get into the final stretch of these. Free agents. So let's definitely dive into that defense, those defensive players tomorrow night. Other than that, guys, man, I appreciate y'all. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Again, do me a favor. Make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you click that post notifications bell so you don't miss any new content. And it's literally as easy as this. So I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Make sure you do those 3 things. It goes helps and support. It goes a long way. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream as always. Make sure you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. You guys going over there, following me, liking the videos, stuff like that, liking my posts, whatever, goes a long way from that standpoint. So please do me a favor. Just take the extra time. It takes about 2 seconds to do all 3 or 4 of them. But definitely help me out on TikTok. Definitely going to have some more content coming at you guys, some more NFL content as well. The shorts have been cooking lately. I just recently talked about the Deebo Samuel trade on there. And also talked about Aaron Rodgers to the New York Giants, just for example. So that's the kind of content that I do over there. Talk about contracts, trades, from the NFL content standpoint, possibilities, rumors, so on and so forth. Y'all know what it is. So again, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Again, become a member today as well. Also, shout out to BetUS, our sponsorship of our live stream. You can use the link in my link tree in the description of this live stream. Sign up for free today. Get 125% bonus up to $2,000 on your first, I think, 3 bets. So go check it out. All right. Other than that, guys, have a blessed evening. Happy Tuesday to each and every one of you. And I will see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. EST. Peace.